Yo, what's up? Yo, yo, yo. All right, man. Let's talk about AMC. What is good? What's up, CFATS, Wesley, Daniel, Zen, ready for Moas? What's up, Red Dragon, Melinda? All in on AMC. What is up? CD98. All right, we are on the weekly chart here on AMC. A couple of things. Well, first off, if you don't know these indicators, they are indicators on that I created here using the cycle. So both of these have cycle parameters. This one is called spots. Okay, so the blue curve acts as support, and the pink curve acts as resistance. Again, using cycle parameters, when you get a blue spot, that typically indicates upside, and then a red spot indicates downside. So each cycle here, each stock will have a different time frame to run this indicator on. Same with the copy pat indicator as well. Also uses cycle parameters and uses something called the Fourier transform, fast Fourier transform, to create these smoothed out curves here from historical data on AMC that then projects a pattern here on AMC. So here, I was playing around with the weekly chart. I already showed the one back here on the SPY on Twitter, and you can see here. So I'll show you an example. A couple of these curves here. So here we have a pink spot, and you can see as soon as we got that pink spot, this thing just crashed basically. Okay, weekly chart, so it's very powerful. And the pink curve is acting as what? Resistance. So currently it's still acting as resistance, and we haven't crossed, but we are getting closer and closer to crossing blue here. So let's go ahead and pull up a curve. I'm working on a projection tool here, just like we have here for this pattern, but except it's going to project a curve here on the spots indicator. Dude, I can never find these tools. They're always just all over the place. Where you at, dude? Here we go. Okay, so my little projection here is gonna look something like this. You can see it's very, very brief. We're about to make that cross, and then once it happens, what's going to happen here on the SPY, we'd get the cross, and I think this lines up perfectly, because if we have a whole year, guys, here from January 3rd of 2021, where it's just been downside, we haven't crossed any major levels of resistance yet. As soon as we do that, again, just go back in time here and look at the rest of the chart here. Let's go back to 08. Look at this weekly chart, guys. 08 cross. Right as soon as you got that cross here, massive short, 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 short. You get the crash, and it just respected these levels of resistance, okay, until you got the blue cross. When you got the blue cross, massive rally. Okay, so awesome, awesome indicator here on the weekly chart. It has not failed. This thing is crazy. Look at this. COVID crash. You get the spot crashes, and then as soon as you get that blue spot again, you have a massive rally, and you have the blue curve here acting as support. This is amazing. So here we're getting very close. Okay, I'd say in the next, by the end of the year here, we should gravitate back up here and hopefully cross this level here. Now this is going to spark a massive market rally if things do correct themselves and start climbing back up. So you can see here on the copy pat tool indicator that is projecting all of this, we do have what would be a little circle here. Blue. Cross. As soon as we get this, man, it's go time. And it's an end to a market crash, really, that people are expecting. It's possible, but I just don't see it happening right now. So, you know, here in the short term, and this is a curve line here, but in the short term, it's possible that we're going to gravitate back and maybe have a quick wick here on a week or not in a week, but on a certain week here in the next couple of months, have a very quick wick that comes in and touches this level down here, support at 330, around that range. If we do that and spring back up, I think it's go time. And that is going to be a potential low here in the markets before climbing back up. We'll get to AMC as well. I'll talk about the AMC indicator or AMC chart here using this indicator because it applies to AMC as well and it's relevant. Okay, so same thing, weekly chart. All right, weekly chart. Here you can see that by the end of the year, it's still indicating upside. Now, I just looked at this today, and man, this is really crazy. Watch this. Watch this, dude. So, as you can see here, we very briefly came back up here and crossed blue. However, you know, with this indicator, you have to be, you kind of have to be patient with the crosses because there are certain crosses where it just, you know, rides right over and then comes back into the channel. Here we have a blue and then a pink cross again. Now, we're currently still riding this, and it's still going to be acting as resistance until it's crossed again. Now, if we come back here, this is where it gets interesting. If we come back here, the same thing happened, okay? You can see here, we had a blue cross, we came back up, then crossed back down again, just really got into that level of resistance here before having a massive rally, right? So, if we sort of consider that here and look at what the market is doing as well, which it is a time frame, guys. Looking at time here is very important. Here we would see a potential cross in the markets right at the beginning of the year. Now, we always talk about how for AMC to rally, AMC, GameStop, any of the meme stocks, typically the major rallies that happen here don't happen until the peak of things. Now, if you guys were here on the last stream, I talked about the inverse POI that just played out, which if you guys don't know what that is, inverse point of interest is just the cycle's point of interest playing to the downside and you know, playing out inverse instead of upside, which happens. I mean, it's something to consider just as you're considering upside on AMC every POI that plays out, right? So, with that being said, with the POIs coming up, because there's always going to be points of interest, guys, and they're always going to be tracking. There are a couple here in the short term that do suggest we're going to hit the $8.50 to $9 range. That's very likely, and I do see that happening here. Let's take away quick and go to the 3-hour chart, which is my favorite on AMC. As you can see right now, we did reject the intraday level of resistance, which is not good. And I did tell the Discord here earlier today that this is the level I was watching for a potential downside, and that we were probably going to expect a sideways trading day just like we did yesterday. Terrible day in the markets. Really just completely crushed the option chain on every possible level on the markets. Yeah, the SPY, NASDAQ, whatever you want to look at. The option chain was completely crushed. So, you know, we're getting a similar setup here, I think, in preparation for NASDAQ earnings tomorrow. I think that's going to affect the market, and, you know, this energy here that they're conserving is going to, you know, happen probably tomorrow, a very volatile day that we're expecting here in the market. So, again, the current setup, whoops. fix this. Yeah, time frame's too long. I get it, man. I get it. I mean, look, the thing is, you know, the thing to do with AMC and the cycle guy. I mean, if you clicked on this video, I mean, it's a cycle analysis video. It's not a, it's not anything else, but that here it's very important that everything we take into account has to do with the cycle. And that's my approach. And it's going to be different than many other TA, gurus, right? No. Many other people out there, guys, that do this whole thing. I mean, it's different. And, some people are going to like that. Some people are not going to like that, man. Here, we're still tracking the points of interest. I can tell you right now that based on the regression trend cycle, we do have a point of interest coming up, and it's going to be right here in the next week because we are currently entering the blue pattern. So that is a micro POI. It's a micro point of interest. This doesn't change, guys. This is something that will keep happening. I'm going to pull up two indicators here. So I've made 4 so far. There's clearly the one that everybody can use here is AMC plus APE is going to show you the actual price of AMC, the true price of AMC, and you're going to be able to really analyze the charts how you have been already. The more accurate one here as far as any like scaled levels go, AMC plus APE is going to be the chart to go. AMC by itself is still going to be very important to track, but right now we still need more information on APE to be able to see what's going to happen here. But right now, it's very important to track AMC plus APE, okay? So, and I have Professor right now said he was going to work on a volume attachment here for this indicator. So he's going to make it so that now I can go ahead and add the volume here, and it'll display AMC plus APE volume. He should have that up here shortly, and I'll be able to put that up here. Okay, so again, we are entering the blue pattern. For those of you that don't know the blue pattern, it is typically the pattern here that plays out the most accurate around this stagnant period in time, which if we pull up the PFV indicator, here it is. I know I'm throwing all these indicators out here, guys, and you're probably like, what is going on? The cycle indicators, man. Okay, this one still needs work. I haven't posted this one yet. There's only 3 out right now. This is going to be the 4th. And here, okay, we're going to have to take AMC plus APE out too. So what this indicator does is it highlights the points of interest basically on any market. Now, again, it's according to individual stocks that they're going to have different parameters that you have to input here. You have to understand how a cycle behaves on every individual stock here. And here we can clearly see a trend from the peak, the bottom here. And this is a curve. This is an average here. But typically, the way it's going to look, and it's going to look different on different time frames here. Actually, I'm on the wrong time frame. What am I doing? 3 hour is the time frame I use for AMC. That's why we're not getting that. Okay. Okay, so here's the cross that we got initially. Okay, and you can see here that, well, this indicator is going to show us everything with a lot of volume, and it's basically it's giving us the real value of price. So price times volume is the ratio you need to understand how certain price action here is similar to historical price action. So anything in the dollar range plus volume times volume, if you have a similar curve here that looks the same, it's very likely that that pattern itself is going to be relevant to track on the current setup. So this is kind of what that indicator does. It shows us that, and it's really nice. Now you can see here that the volume is decreasing very slowly, but normally when this happens, you do get an inflow in volume very quickly. So a lot of volume coming in here. And I think we're going to experience some in this near term, but for a micro POI to play out here where we see at least some heavy volume on a shorter time frame, we will, this is why I said we're probably going to experience like a May 12th, December 17th, August 24th, September 30th type of run. Okay, so all these runs that I'm talking about, I'll highlight here for you. August 24th, do it on AMC's chart. August 24th, September 30th, December 17th, and May 12th. All of these, man, right here, are going to be very quick spikes. I'm going to pull it up just on the volume indicator here. Nothing special. You can see that they're very quick, man. It's a heavy run, but it's very quick volume followed by flat volume. It's just flat, and then you have a spike. Flat. Where is it? Flat. And then you have a spike. Okay, and currently we have flat and no spike at all. So using this cycle here, same thing. Most of these line up and they're very close to the blue pattern. Okay? Keep losing the cycle, man. Where is it? Here we go. All right. Blue pattern. Okay. And then we come back wait. Right here, blue pattern, December. And then right here, again on the blue pattern. Okay, this one, September 30th, I told the Discord, this is a 2 days early on the algorithm. We had Adam Aaron exercising AMC shares on that date. And they were not expecting that. The algorithm was not expecting this. So it was supposed to happen right here around the 5th of October. And that one was early. And then all the other ones that you're looking at here also happen on points of interest. For example, May 12th happens right here on this point of interest in the cycle that we've seen happen before. Okay, another one right here. And these are all about a day late or a day early. Okay. Inverse right here. Okay. You just flip it. There it is. Right there. Inverse. Okay. A lot of these, man. A lot of these smaller points of interest that are coming up. So I do expect that to happen here on the blue pattern, and it does. We do enter the blue pattern here on the 21st of October, and that should really start kicking things off just based on what we're currently doing right now, which is coming down. And I do expect a little bit more downside here before climbing back up. So going into the end of the week is when I would when I would expect this volume coming in here for that potential upside that we're looking for here on AMC. That's why I'm holding back a little bit on things, just being patient, just acknowledging and admitting that, yeah, this is an inverse POI. And everything that we're looking at here, it happened almost the same way that we experienced back here on this cycle, okay, which was always on the table, and I always mentioned it. I was always more bullish, obviously. Majority of us are going to be bullish on AMC. But it's important to understand that if things are not identical, they're inverse, man. And then we just keep tracking cycles here. It's not about being right or being wrong in these situations or anything. It's just about tracking volatility zones where we can prepare in between to see what's going to happen next. And that's just how I'm treating AMC. That's how I've been treating AMC The majority of these POIs that we've seen here, these macro POIs have always been have always played out here according to layout. There's been very few that just remain stagnant and have what are these very small points of interest that play out in the cycle. But right now, what I am expecting is a little bit of sideways trading before we get to the blue pattern here. And then I'm going to be expecting a run. And it's going to be a pretty nice run. So after that, we'll have to keep looking at the chart and really understanding what we're kind of looking for here next. But in the meantime, I think things are looking pretty good in general for AMC. This is where I'm going to go back. And I'm going to pull up the weekly chart again and pull up these indicators. Oh no, we got the bots in here, man. Yeah, I wonder where these bots come from. Okay, so weekly chart and the copycat, get it, bro? I know this is pretty corny, but I think that's a good name for it. Copycat indicator and the spots indicator on this. Alrighty, both are amazing indicators. Okay, so again, projecting that upside here, we can see it on the really just using the spots indicator, and copycat is just going to show us the projection, which is good for just really understanding the possibilities here that can happen, the opportunities and different scenarios that we can really see here on any pattern, on any time frame. That is what I mostly use it for. I'm not using it to rely on upside or downside or anything. I'm just using it for it to give me a clear picture and see what the possibilities are, and then use everything else to round that up. Really, just that decision in the end, right, that you end up making the market. Okay, so here, just what I can see based on this curve, based on the cycle here, is that very briefly we come out of this resistance trend curve line here, pink. We cross blue and we cross back down, pink. Okay, that is clear. We've only done that once before, and it's down here. Okay, we're pulling it up again, comparing this setup here with what the market is also doing, which I already talked about, the projection. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take, as soon as we get out of this channel, come back in. We respect the level of resistance one more time before climbing back up. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pattern on the weekly chart and just show it to you, man. So from here, where we're at now, it would look like this. All right. So what does this tell us? Well, this is telling us here that if we are in this trend, if we are in this current setup here using just pattern analysis and this indicator, that's it. We're not using anything else. Just using these two. Then it would look something like this. And to me, you know, this is not a bad setup because, well, one, this definitely confirms here that next week we would probably go and touch this level of resistance again. So right at that $8.75, $9 level, and then come back down, okay, and then trade sideways. And yeah, you know what? I know people are going to be like a little bit upset about, wow, like that's like a 40% move. Like that's nothing. Dude, you know, with stuff like this, catching the POIs, one thing I tell people, and you know, I explain a lot here on Discord, on Twitter, all this stuff, is that, you know, these moves, catching these moves, these volatilities, even if there are small volatility zones in the market, if you are somebody who's just waiting for the big run, you know, and you're just waiting patiently, I respect that and I understand. And, you know, this is probably not something for you in the sense that you, for smaller runs to make money or anything like that. But, you know, when catching some of these smaller runs, using the leverage of the option chain and stuff like that, knowing exactly when to go in, when to come out, using some of these strategies, I think is a very neat thing to do. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So for me, it's, shares are one thing, but option chain is another. Option chain is a completely other way to make money in the market. And I use, cycle analysis for that. Cycle analysis is something that has helped a lot with it. And now with the power of these indicators is making it a lot easier for me to make these decisions here. So looking at this pattern again, and we're going to go on a smaller time frame here now. Now that we know where we're going to take this pattern from, which is here to here. All right. And then here it seems like from the peak here, August 10th, all the way up here, January 27th. Okay. And then just again using the same setup here to now here on the weekly chart, it stopped it right before that run, so it's not going to show you the actual run here. But here's the average of it here, at least from what we can see. And look, this is why this is important, guys. Looking at just this setup here and the way it runs, you can see that there's that point of interest that I'm talking about here. And it's a small run, but it's still a pretty hefty run, okay? This might not look, sometimes perspective is really important. But, dude, we've gone down from the August 24th run, okay, almost 70%, and this is not including AMC plus APE. AMC plus APE is worse. AMC plus APE, look at this. Okay, 75% AMC plus APE. Just really think about that for a second. Since August, we have gone down almost 75%. It's a clear inverse POI here, with just really dragging out and suppressing the volume, and it's not being displayed in that when it is inverse. Rarely are you going to see that here on AMC because of how things are being suppressed on any sort of downside. But when the upside comes in, that is when obviously the algorithm opens up the ability to where it becomes vulnerable, and you're able to affect what the cycle is trying to do in the end. So right now, okay, just on this pattern that I pulled up using both of those indicators, showing us the micro POI here, which happens to line up with the blue pattern, okay? And you can see here clearly a range. So if we did come up here and we remained on this level here for a little bit, for a couple of weeks, and then came back down again, a couple of things would happen here. Okay, so, and this is, I'm going all over the place, but that's the thing about cycles, man. With cycles, you have to do that. You have to go all over the place. Let's see, real quick before I do this. Trevor, you sent something here on the Discord, man. Yeah. So now I don't know if you were here for this, man, but I pulled up the weekly chart here on AMC, and just so that pattern right here that you posted is, so right here, taken from the start here in August all the way down to the January here, is also lining up with the cross here on the spots indicator. So here you can see we briefly touched it, right? Starting from when everything went down, really, which here on the COVID correction, which the entire market started tracking very similarly here. And that is when we really started to see everything here, trade against each other and these leverage, cryptos and stuff that these markets were doing, Ethereum Classic, stuff like that, all over GameStop, AMC, all these other stocks. And here you can see that the curve, we briefly crossed the curve before coming down. So it's a pink, both a blue and a pink spot. And then we start shooting back up here. So it looks extremely similar. The ratio levels are extremely similar. And it does call for upside in the short term. Now, it doesn't quite call for more upside, right? It just calls for a small brief run here, which is, very small point of interest. And then a continuation, right? And that is if the cycle wants to respect what is going on back here and does fully cross this level again. So here, I think on let's see when this intersects here on the 3 hour. So right before, actually, right around December, end of December, it would intersect. And let me see how this lines up with the current cycle. Because, the current cycle, this would be the tail end of the next cycle, I believe. Or no, not the next cycle, the one after that. Yeah, right around the end of that. And we've only seen the cycle do that once, really back here. Okay, we did something like that. We did start climbing back up, and then we fell back down. But this would really only be the case, and I always say don't track like patterns and stuff like all the way through, because they do give up at some point. We've seen this happen multiple times, and I don't rely on just one pattern unless it is giving me lining up with every single POI here. And, yesterday I pulled up that no-name crypto here. And we talked about how accurate this thing was. I mean, I've never seen on AMC, you guys can try and look for a pattern. If you do, please join the Discord and post it on there, because I've been looking for AMC sequence, the entire sequence here. I'm not talking about two points of interest that you find. No, I'm talking about the entire AMC sequence, where every single point of interest here lines up with this pattern. I have not seen one. So go find one, join the Discord, please, and then post it on there, because I need more, man. I need as many as we can get. So here is the no-name crypto that I was tracking a couple of days ago that ended up, going up here towards the end, and it did have a nice rally. And actually, I'm curious to see where it's at now. Wow, whoa. This thing looks insane, man, on the weekly chart. Wow. Look at this, guys. This crypto here, ARPA, is in a ascending, broadening wedge. This thing could rally all the way up here. Yeah, this thing could rally over 1,000%. I mean, look at how clear this is, though, man. Look, I don't think I've seen a more clear setup here. Look at this. One. This is what I call a series of projectors, too. But oh my god, man. If this thing actually went here on this cross, and this is, by the way, this is the same exact crypto here that I'm tracking on AMC. That does also suggest a POI here in the very short term going into next week. So I am tracking this one to also validate that shorter term point of interest. But anyways, man, on the weekly chart, this thing looks crazy. Like, look at this. It's about to cross also that blue, the blue spot here on the pink curve. Yo. Yeah, this is ARPA, and it is a coin. Yeah, it is a crypto. For all those crypto fans out there. And here's that projection here on the copy-pat tool. And now this is where I don't put too much focus on everything that this tells me, because all it is giving me a different range on every time frame. If I go on the 3-day, it's going to give me something else. See? And the good thing about this indicator is that it does line up. So these major runs and short attacks that we get here, it does line those up with the points of interest, the macro points of interest that we get. So that's a good thing. But it's always going to give you a different pattern, and some patterns go into that negative zone or extremely positive zone, where it just, from like a realistic standpoint, doesn't make sense. So that is something to consider with this. It's just supposed to show you the projection, a projection. Here's the daily chart on that. And this is a very reasonable one that I could see playing out, as we did have that massive broadening wedge, man. Holy. If this were to play out on something like this, that would be an insane move. I mean, really only have to draw like a triangle here, man, for this. But anyways, getting sidetracked there. This is that pattern on AMC. And then what I was telling people to is not to pay too much attention to what's going on in here. Why? Because this is noise in that cycle. Here you can see that there's very little going on. And on the crypto that I tracked here over the weekend, ARPA, there was very little volume here. And typically when you see very little volume on crypto, it means that, well, if the algorithm has played out a sequence and it's over, there's going to be a stagnant period where nothing happens. And there's like, 1, 2, 3, 4 very small bars that indicate anything. And then when the volume starts coming back in, it resumes. Okay? That's exactly why I'm not putting too much focus on this. And then I'm going to show you that pattern here. Just a sec. So this is the current pattern. And you can see that so I'm going to take AMC's entire pattern now. Now, there's a couple of things that are different about this pattern, because there's two that I'm tracking. This is just the this is the ARPA actual chart, but what I actually tracked was the premium index. The premium index is going to work a little different. It's going to show us something completely different, actually. And this is why, again, you didn't see much going on in between, because, well, when the premiums are low and there's not much going on, there's no volatility. So, you shouldn't really count that as part of the AMC sequence here. Anyways, let's pull that up. Let's paste it. Let's go on the 5-minute. Here we go. AMC. All the way back here. There it is. Boom. All right, so what do we have here? What do we have? AMC's chart. Not only are we hitting the points of interest at the right time, and get this, this is a fractal here. That is, we're looking at this on a day's worth of data, is basically lining up exactly with AMC's entire chart. Everything here, man. Okay? Exactly the same. Not only are the times lining up, but the levels are lining up. And that is the most important thing with any fractal. The time is one thing, but the levels are a completely different thing here. So you can see that we're coming back to one last here before the algorithm kind of shuts down. One last POI, and then that's when the cycle basically is over, and you start just trading sideways for a while. Nothing going on here until this point, right? And here on the chart displayed, not on the premium index, but on the actual chart, ARPA, you can see exactly what happens around that time. And that is a pretty nice move here, pretty nasty move. So we can put it here on this chart too. It's going to do this. The thing I don't like about TradingView is that it doesn't scale things right away. You got to go like zoom out. Okay, and on this chart here, it would look like this. See how it's not scaled properly though? It shows us something different. It's on purpose. You know, crypto itself doesn't have an option chain, but it does have a, well, it does have premiums, and those charts are going to look a little different, but AMC clearly has an option chain, and I think that's why you're seeing things scaled a little bit different on the premium chart versus this one here. But still, you know, the levels are being hit here. All the levels are being hit at the right time. And then again, we are coming up to this portion here in the cycle, which is a point of interest. Okay, it's going to look a little different. Oh, we are coming to it. Or I'm sorry, it's not quite this one. It's this very quick one here. You can see it's a very quick wick that comes up and then gets shut back down, which is what I talked about here, guys, that this next run here would look similar to what is all the smaller points of interest that come up and then come down very quickly. But it's still going to be a pretty nice move up, in my opinion. Just something to track and really consider here for AMC. Let's see how we're looking now. Let's go on the intraday chart. Steve. Do squeezes only occur during POIs? Yes, most of the time they do. I can tell you right now that every major run that has happened on AMC has been traced by the cycle. It has not. There has not been any cycle here that has not been hit by. Here's the cycle, and then I'm gonna put up the January. Here's January cycle. Easy way to prove this is here are the cycles down here. Here's a PFV indicator that's literally just excluding all the noise in between. And what we're going to be paying attention to is the noise on the PFV, right? So here lines up with the cycle, green level. Right here lines up with the cycle. Okay, major volume. Okay, here you have very small volume that does line up also with the blue pattern. Okay, and this entire section here is an inverse version of the red portion here. If you just flip the red portion, it'll show you the inverse pattern here on August 24th. And then back here again, major. This is where the cycle comes from, by the way. It's the arc right there. And then even January lines up with the POI. And not only January, guys, but the start, the very, very, very start of things, that was November 9th, lining up again with the beginning of the cycle. All of these line up with the cycle. There's not one major run that we have had here that does not line up with what is this 2-month cycle. So this is why I'm, this is why I keep using the cycle and why I haven't stopped, because of how accurate it is with telling us when these POIs happen. All of these going back in time, they're all spaced out 2 months apart to a T. And you know, for the next major run that we have on AMC, I can almost guarantee you that it will occur between one of these green to blue runs here. Any of them. This is why we're going to keep tracking it until it happens. But I'm very pretty certain here, again, never is this going to be financial advice, but using cycle analysis here, how much the cycle has helped with narrowing down these points of interest is very, very good and very interesting to really note here with all these runs, man. Okay. Wait, let's see. In my mind, what makes this time different from the other dates you have called, which have not played out? Well, the points that I've called in the past, the major, you know, since the channel started back here, there's only been an opportunity to call. All the micro POIs that you've seen here have been called by the cycle for sure. Now this one that just happened here, there has only been one inverse, or I'm sorry, the channel started right here. So right before this could even happen, the cycle started. The only POI that I've been bullish about that I've called that hasn't played out to the upside has been this one. And this one here, again, is still an inverse POI on the macro scale. It went down 75%. It looks exactly the same, very similar to what we saw back here on this cycle. And also, not only this cycle, but this cycle down here. Okay, both of these are going to be very similar when looking at this POI here. Now, if you know how the cycle works, you know that some of the points of interest here, and you can see that with the volume, do play out inverse when there's very, very little volume and dry volume. Why I'm optimistic about the short term is because we haven't seen any heavy volume come in. So it's very likely we're going to see a spike here. Okay, and these spikes that you're looking at here, where there's a lot of volume, are and do line up, okay, with a point of interest in the cycle, whether it's the blue pattern or the red pattern down here. But all of them that you're looking at here, okay, points of interest will either line up with that here. And where's this other one here? Okay, remember this one was 2 days early with Adam Aaron exercising the shares, also lining up on the blue portion of the pattern. And then August 24th as well, which is this one was a part of the regression trend cycle here, where we have this entire portion here playing out inverse back and forth in the cycle, right? And this is all this is a macro hedge. So you're in this cycle for a little bit, and then as soon as you exit this, what is this pennant, you're in a new territory, you're in a new range, and you are tracking now a different cycle, which is, it really mixes on between the 2 month, 3 month, and the 4 month cycle. So yeah, man, nothing's changed. I can keep on, you know, I remain optimistic on AMC regardless. I'm never going to be, you know, downer or anything, because that's not what the point is. The point is to just track the volatility zones and make your best guess and judgment based on everything else that's going on in the market. A couple of things that have not played out here for me to be extremely bullish here on AMC is that, well, we haven't seen the SPY in the market fully rally and remain at a rally. It's still on a downtrend. We also haven't seen a lot of, you know, other sectors do that quite yet. That confirms that things are headed back up. So, you know, as me being realistic in that, I wouldn't quite see something like that happening right now in the shorter term. But that doesn't mean that we can't have a shorter term move up, right, and or a nice rally to the upside. So again, levels that I'm tracking, first level is going to be 9. Okay, anything above that, a parabolic move up above 9, and we should head back all the way back up here to the $10 range. That's the bell of the market. Very sideways trading day. Nothing really going on right now today. And that's why I'm holding back with anything as far as really any. I'm very very careful with that, and that I don't want to, overdo it with some of the plays and stuff on days like this, and then days like yesterday too. Yesterday was a very crazy day in the market. The SPY remained on basically between one range here, trading at 368 and 366. It just remained at that 367 level, which was terrible. And I think, again, tomorrow with earnings, we're going to experience that too. Or not, we're going to experience the opposite of that, which is going to be extreme volatility. The markets, man. But yeah, man, I mean, that's what I do. That's what I do. If you guys do want more info on everything else that I do here, I mean, I don't just track AMC, like when AMC, especially when AMC is trading sideways and is stagnant, those are some of the things that we just don't really, we just remain here on this channel for a little bit, and other sectors in the market start going up. Some start coming down, right? Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah. I want to show you guys something here. See if this works. No. What is this? I definitely typed the wrong thing in here. Uh-oh. Here we go. All right, so this is the website here. tradingwithtemotions.com. If you guys go, I mean, these are the weekly POIs. I'm just going to show you. Obviously, that Netflix is going to be an earnings play, but we did have a Ethereum on here. Ethereum did have a nice rally today, and possibly a continuation here, up almost 13%. Same with Nikola. Nikola's been pretty crazy, pretty insane here on the short, and there was news on the CEO, right, being convicted here of fraud. But still with stuff like that, guys, catalysts and all that, you're always going to get, very, like, the catalysts, man, are lined up to fit in with this agenda that these guys have in the end. So it's always going to really affect the price, regardless of whether it's bullish news or bearish. And here on Nikola, we can see that there is a downtrend right now, and it's priming up to have a nice rally. I do see Nikola being one of those major squeeze plays here in the shorter term. So, okay, let's look into it. Yeah, if you guys want to join the Discord, man, make sure you guys click that link below and join up. I did update some of the, for those of you that are not aware of, like, my whole job here, man, is to, I manage the Discord here, and I do stuff on there, man. I send plays. I have indicators that I made that I put out. Again, talking about the copy pat indicator, the spots indicator. All that stuff, man, is what I focus on here intraday daily. And then when I have time and I manage to sort of balance everything out here, I'm able to come back live and still share everything, some of the things here with you guys. But if you want more info on that, there are some updates that I have, man, some membership updates. There's 3 tiers now that you can choose from. If you guys do want to become part of the family, man, hit it up. Okay, so yeah, link below if you want more info on that. But here with AMC, one last thing, guys. What I am expecting is upside in the near term, possibly going into the end of the week. I do have a shorter term possibility here with the market. If it does start climbing back up, then we might start to see that upside here tomorrow. Okay, but as of now, I'm just gonna let things play out here and settle before really making any decisions on where we are headed here next. Okay. If you want more info on everything else and you just got in, I'll keep this obviously live here so you can rewind the video. Alright, guys. We will see you later. Bye-bye. Take care.